I used to work at a corporation I despise. It was customer service, minimum wage. I was behind a register handling more money in a day than I'd see in months. It was a time in my life where I found myself falling into this pattern of waking up, going to work, coming home, and forcing myself to play video games until I had to sleep, and I repeated this process over and over to the point that my days blended together and my mental health plummeted. What originally was my first job out of high school morphed into 3 years of my life, and I could feel myself losing my fucking mind to this corporate machine. During this time, video games became less of an art form to be enjoyed, or a fun way to spend time with my friends, and it became a void to gaze into and watch the hours pass by as I dreaded my return to the daily grind. I gorged myself on junk food games like Skyrim and GTA 5, and I realized my hobbies had become a coping mechanism. It became easier with each day to slip into the familiar and the comfortable, rather than to take an honest look at what was making me miserable and what really mattered to me. Those things I once cherished, like creative writing and pursuing a college education, began to fade away into the void, and soon enough I had resigned myself to complacency. And then COVID hit in 2020, and it became literally unsustainable to work in the customer service industry.
But now it is time for people to go home.
So I left my cashiering job and almost immediately began noticing a serious improvement in my mental health. I stopped playing time sink games like Skyrim or GTA as I had been, as a form of existential procrastination, and now 2 years later I'm happy, working in an easy, low-level healthcare position, and I'm ready to revisit YouTube and make a relevant video on a new video game. So let's take a look. What have the past few years offered us in terms of entertainment? I lied. Everything sucks. Reality still sucks. I hate the world, our existence is meaningless, and we will never escape the sins of our fellow humans. I haven't changed, I've devolved, if anything. I still devote hundreds of hours as sacrifice to a game that has more content than there is matter in the universe. Yes, I am talking about not only a time sink, but the time singularity that is Stardew Valley. But is it really that bad to want to use video games as a form of escapism right now? Reality sucks. Sometimes all we need is a break. Is that a bad thing? Okay, maybe it is a bad thing sometimes, but I don't care. This is my hyperfixation, and I think this game is so much better and cheaper than almost any other game on the market right now, even 6 years later. And now, with Haunted Chocolatier on the horizon and looking delightful, I might add, I figured it'd be worthwhile to take a cheat day and talk about a game that isn't as relevant anymore, but applies to my experience in almost every way. So come with me to my happy place. Escape with me to Stardew Valley. So Stardew Valley opens with your dying grandfather giving you a letter. Yeah, it's not going to be that happy yet. He tells you that one day adult life will give you an existential crisis, and that when it does, he wants you to open the letter. Cut to some years later, you worked for Joja, a corporation that probably isn't responsible for funding any Colombian death squads. As an office worker, you hate your life, probably because there's an actual corpse 2 cubicles away, so you open your grandpa's letter. Inside, you find the deed to a property in Stardew Valley. You decide enough is enough and you quit your job. You accept what is basically an invitation to leave the city life and begin life anew in a small rural town. From here, you start a long journey of running a farm and maybe discovering yourself along the way. One bus ticket later, and you are greeted into Stardew Valley by Robin, the town carpenter. She takes you to your farm, where you meet the mayor, Lewis. Your property is overgrown, and your grandpa's cottage is a glorified shack. Here's an axe, a hoe, a pickaxe, a scythe, and a watering can. Good luck running a farm. You are then hit with the crushing reality of trying to run a farm in the same world as Tyson Foods.
It's kind of a whole thing.
And have a choice right from the beginning. Am I willing to lose years of my life to a farming simulator or not? It is at this point that I want to say if you do want to play Stardew, spoiler free, you should probably click off of this video and go buy it. The game's only like $15, and I'm certain if you like Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon, you'll probably love this game. So just go buy it. Go buy it. Go buy it, you dingus. Stupid. I know you pre-ordered Cyberpunk. You can justify buying that game but not a certified classic like Stardew? How many times are you going to have to learn this lesson? Okay. Most people's first days in this game will be spent getting to know the characters and mechanics you're going to be spending a lot of time with. You will probably try to clear out some space on your farm and plant some handy parsnip seeds. It is here in the first 5 minutes of the game that players will meet the true antagonist of this game, the energy bar. Much like real life, doing things takes energy, and as time progresses, you can only accomplish so much in a day. You can try to push yourself against the time and energy limit, but trust me, you'll never win that battle.
Your bones are scraped clean by the desolate wind.
For right now, you have seeds planted and you're low on energy, so you head into town, and you begin meeting all of the residents. The game consists of a wonderful cast of colorful characters who will greet you into the town. You will immediately start picking your favorites and least favorites, and you'll probably stumble across the calendar. The calendar shows you the 28-day run of the current seasons, and all of the birthdays within. Maybe you'll wander over to the beach or the forest, where you might meet Leah.
I'm gonna say that one more time. Leah. Oh, yeah. That's a sweet, sweet lady.
Are you polishing your trophies again?
Who explains the foraging activity to you. You go foraging because, of course, you do, and you learn that foraging costs no energy to do. While not as lucrative as farming, you can still make a little money and energy off of this activity. Finally, you finish your loop and you end up back at the farm, hopefully before the 2 a.m. deadline, and you flop back down in the bed after a very busy first day. The first day is important. Within the first day, you are taught almost all of the essentials of the game, with only a few bits of tutorial here and there. You only have a certain amount of time and energy each day, and you can only devote so much of either to any activity. You could spend all day with a full energy bar foraging, but you'll make shit for money. Farming earns you fuck you money, but it can take weeks to cultivate crops, and it takes a ton of energy to water the garden each day. There's also fishing and mining, which could take entire days in and of themselves. So you have a good spread of activities to enjoy while you improve your farm. You could try to beat the 2 a.m. deadline, or keep working past your physical limits, but you'll learn pretty quickly that some fights are unwinnable. So this game expertly lays out all of its building blocks for its core gameplay loops in the first 30 minutes of play. And from here, you'll find that the days go by so quickly as you begin planning out each day in advance, considering weather, fortune-telling, crop growth, and the current season, all in order to accomplish your goals. It is so easy to get into that one more day mentality that you will find yourself being blinded by the dawn light peeking through your curtains often enough that they should put it on the cover of the game. So, what is the goal of Stardew Valley, you may ask? What's the point of devoting so much time to this game? Well, some would say maximizing profits and investing in your humble farm until you hold this small town in a financial stranglehold and become too big to fail, eventually rising to the ranks of the top 1% of the 1% in the valley, and eventually no one in the game stands a fucking chance of operating outside of this financial vacuum you have formed. Other people think the game is not about that. Some people think this is an anti-capitalist game about community and love and overcoming financial adversity, and those people are wrong. Why get married? To develop a bond with someone to the point that you want to spend your lives together? No. Leah is free labor. She waters the gardens. Exploit your relationship for financial gain. Do it. Run Pierre out of business. Not because he's a bad father figure, no. Do it because Joja Mart is cheaper. Gift everyone in town what they like, not to make them happy, but so your popularity increases. And no one will question when you burn the forest down to store more barrels of wine. When you burn the forest down to store more barrels of wine, they won't say anything. Because you gave them their gifts. There is an optimal way to play this game. You have to use the wiki. Everyone else is wrong. I am correct. I am God. I am Stardew Valley. Why won't anyone dance with me at the Flower Festival? So the first major way you make money in this farming simulator is by farming. It's the first thing most people will accomplish in the game, and you make most of your big paychecks this way. Most people start with the aforementioned parsnips. These take 4 days to grow, and you make a humble little profit. You learn quickly that each growable item takes a different amount of time. Short growth times for quick profits, and long growth times for bigger profits, but more effort. Some keep producing after each harvest, while others don't, but you get multiple when you swing your scythe. Most crops are seasonal, so you have a nice variety here. Here's a pro tip. At the flower dance, don't dance with anyone, because you don't need to. You should save up for some strawberry seeds, as they are worth far more than parsnips. If you don't do this, you are wrong and you should feel bad. What are you doing? At the end of the night in Stardew Valley, you will see that each of your skill trees improve based on what you did that day. After a sizable harvest, your farming skill might improve, and you'll see those numbers tick up, and your brain will fill with wonderful dopamine. You'll then unlock the mayonnaise machine, then a preserves jar, a loom, cheese press, oil maker, and fun things like that. Also, if you invest enough money and resources at Robin's, you can get her to build you a barn. And soon enough, you'll have a whole barnyard jamboree. At level 5, you will be faced with a choice. Will you focus on harvesting crops, or will you devote yourself to the rancher's lifestyle? Later on, the rancher will branch into coop animals or barn animals, while the tiller can focus more on crops and artisanal goods. You can make oil, cheese, and mayonnaise. Oh my god, I fucking love mayonnaise. Are you proud of me, Armand? Have I made you proud? I picked tiller and then artisan personally because I read it on a guide. No other reason. But honestly, don't let other people influence your decision too much. There's no flat-out wrong choice here, and you should honestly just pick whatever you have the most fun playing with. Since all other activities require a shitload of time management and energy usage, we can forage in those moments where we need a break from it all. It's nice to go through the woods every now and then to collect berries, flowers, and mushrooms. It's seasonal too, so you always have a good reason to explore and feel the vibe each month. On your way to the beach, go ahead and pick up some clams along the way. Making your way to Leah's house to wait outside her door with a salad in your hands, you freak, you can pick up some seasonal spring salmon berries while you're at it. Making a stop by the mines? Don't. When you see those XP bars start to What was that noise? When you see those XP bars start to fill up for foraging, you'll learn how to make different snacks, tree tappers, charcoal kilns, lightning rods, and teleportation totems, I guess? You can choose between focusing more on foraging itself or becoming a forester, who gets far more rewards for chopping down trees. Later on, gatherers can pick between having foraged locations revealed on the map, which is kind of shit, or they can always collect the highest level of forage, which is kind of good actually. Foresters, on the other hand, can pick between harvesting more hardwood or selling syrups for more. Both aren't terrible, but I hate clearing trees and how much energy it takes, so I usually go with the forester just for the, ease of use of it. I guess I just love destroying the environment as much as I can, which is why I also love fishing. second day of your playthrough, you will receive a letter from a strange old man named Willie, saying that he's got something for you. You cautiously make yourself to the beach, where Willie surprises you with his rod. Okay, man. Yeah, sure. Salty sea. Just keep the spirit alive. I got you. I got out of there before things got too weird. Now that you've unlocked fishing, you can cast in the most open bodies of water that you find in the valley, and the types of fish you can catch is determined by a variety of factors, such as time of day, the season, the location you cast out, and whether it's raining or not. There are different rarities of fish and even a select few legendary fish, such as this guy, who can only be caught in the spring, during the rain, in this specific spot. Oh, and you need to have a level 10 in fishing. There's no shame in looking up how to catch these guys because it can be a lot to keep track of. Also, look at this fucking guy. I love that look of utter shock, terror, and outrage that he encapsulates. He even has a son. Fishing doesn't consume much energy at all, and it can be done in almost every area in the game, so it's honestly a great way to pass the time while waiting for yourself to turn a little profit on anything else. Even if you start to run out of energy, you can always snack on a fish or a seaweed to get a little bit more casts before you collapse from exhaustion. Some people really dislike the fishing minigame, but I've always found it to be kind of relaxing. You cast out, wait for a bite very patiently. And as soon as you get a bite, you press the button, and you have to do a little grind and Tony Hawk. Some fish are easy to catch, while others are fuckers. But the size of your green bar grows with each increase of your skill level. You can also use bait, tackle, rain, and bubbles to increase your chances of catching a fish, and maybe even a treasure. Oh, and if you try fishing on your farm, you're probably going to be disappointed. For those who do not enjoy the fishing minigame, you're in luck. There is an alternative way to level up in the form of crab pots. Just lay them in any water source and bait them up and return later. Just be careful, because it can get a little ridiculous if you lay them everywhere. Eventually, you'll learn how to make bait, crab pots, recycling machines for all that garbage, spinners, bobbers, hooks, and worm bins. Worm bins. Ugh. You can choose between fishing and trapping. Fishers will be able to spec in the more valuable fish or finding treasure, while trappers will be able to pick between eliminating garbage from their pots or foregoing bait altogether. This is all pretty much up to personal taste, honestly, but I went with the fishing minigame because I like it. There's something about it that's just so fun. It's got a certain depth to it. I just can't put my finger on what it is that makes it so fun. Oh yeah, plagiarism. Yeah, this whole system is pretty much Suikoden's fishing system, so criticism where criticism is due, it's not very original. I'm not going to be too harsh on Stardew for this because it's basically just 2D Harvest Moon. It wears its inspiration on its sleeve at least, but it does just enough to differentiate itself from the game that it lifts ideas from. And just like Harvest Moon, this game also has a mine. On the 5th day of spring, the mine's entrance will be cleared, and you can enter the dark, spooky place in search of treasure and valuable ore. You are greeted by the Adventuring Guild guy, who gives you a sword. Okay, man, this is 2024, I doubt I'll be needing a sword, am I right? You enter the first floor and begin mining. Breaking rocks takes maybe the most energy of any activity in this game, besides chopping down trees, so it's very wise to bring a couple snacks with you so you can keep harvesting valuable ore. Once you get enough copper, you can take it back to the town blacksmith, Clint, who I will not be insulting in this video, where he can upgrade your tools so that all of your activities will require less of an energy investment. This makes mining a very important aspect of the game because it affects all other pillars of gameplay in this way. If you want to level up your watering can, you're gonna have to get into the mines. If you want to be able to break down trees in less hits, you gotta go to the mines. Everything is affected by it. You can also find geodes, which our friend Clint here can break, revealing a random treasure ranging from boring stone to the almighty prismatic shard. Oh, thanks for the aquacore, Clint. You're the person I go to when I need blue balls. Each level of the mine can be descended by locating the ladder, which will take you further in. Every 5 levels you'll reach an elevator that can take you back up to the top, and every 10 levels you'll be rewarded with a special treasure. There are 120 levels in the mine, giving you ample opportunity to level up your mining skill. Eventually, you'll learn how to transmute ores, make tasty treats, and crystallariums. Oh, and also bombs, which are not just a great way to quickly harvest materials, but also a great way to influence local politics. Your main choice in this path will be between mining ore or gems. Both are useful, but personally I like investing in gems because it appeals to my Scrooge McDuck fantasies. I like mining in this game. It's a little creepy down here, but it can also be relaxing. Shout out to the music, by the way. Just be careful when you go mining. It can be real easy to get into that just one more floor mentality, and before you know it, okay, something's going on here. Even if you've only played this game for less than an hour, you've probably noticed something is off about Stardew Valley. Who the fuck is Joja? Why is there a fantasy wizard outside of town? And what the fuck was that noise? Seriously, what was that noise? Before we dive headfirst into this rabbit hole, we should go over the final aspect of gameplay: combat. Yes, the mines are absolutely filled with monsters, including slimes, giant insects, disembodied heads, fucking dinosaurs, and these creepy fucking shadow people, to name a few. Kill them all. You might have money on them. While in the mine, you will not only have to balance your stamina, keeping a watchful eye not to exhaust yourself mining, but also you'll have to monitor your health closely. If you ever pass out, whether it be from the final boss or a lucky hit from a monster, then you will wake up with a potentially large amount of your money gone. And if you passed out down in the mines, then potentially some of your items. No! You can use daggers, swords, hammers, slingshots, and bombs to deal damage. And most of the damage is calculated using dice rolls. Daggers do lower damage with a high crit rate, and hammers are the opposite, etc., etc. I've tried both, and honestly, they're both really fun. As you level up in this tree, you will unlock the ability to craft different foods and elixirs, which will keep you alive in the trenches. Enchanted rings, which will give you different status effects. Slime breeding equipment, so you can begin the farm little guys. And squid ink ravioli. Ew, the fuck? No thanks, bro. I've got my mammies. Sweet, sweet mayonnaise. You're made with love.
I like how it smells.
You're made with love. Okay, so this game is really weird. It has all of the appearances of an innocent, cute farming game, but there is a surprising amount lurking beneath the surface. Starting with where you came from, the Joja Corporation. So Joja isn't just a stand-in for a real soda company. In this universe, it is a global mega corporation that produces drinks, but also owns a majority of shopping centers, has people working on the mines which cause massive landslides and, I think, worker deaths? And even covers emergency medical services, according to the wiki. They are the closest thing to an actual villain Stardew has, besides the obvious one, and are portrayed as almost completely unstoppable in their quest to wipe out all small businesses and become your only choice for shopping needs in Stardew. Okay, maybe they are a stand-in for Coca-Cola. Also, Pelican Town is a part of a nation, the Ferngale Republic, which is currently at war with the Gotoro Empire. Of course, they have prison camps and implied torture at said camps, What, you didn't expect that in your cute farming game? Keep up. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Meme. Let's return to Yoba. This is some kind of creator deity who represents the earth and potentially the protection of it. Here we have a small excerpt. Into this soil, Yoba planted the seed. The seed sprouted, and behold, a vine sprung skyward, twisting and probing, casting a writhing shadow onto the golden void. After 11 days, the vine bore fruit. Yoba, with knowing wisdom, peeled the tough skin off of the fruit and saw that the world was inside. And so that is how the world came to be. Yeah, I'm calling it now. This man has done mushrooms. Oh, and these guys? They're a sentient race of shadow people, or void spirits. There's a wonderful NPC named Krobus, who is one of these spirits, and he refers to some of the monsters that you've slaughtered endlessly as his friends. You fucking monster. Oh, also there are forest spirits who are trying to seek and protect nature. You can help them rebuild the community center to bring life back to the town, but why would you do that? Have you been paying attention? We are only making optimal choices on this run. We can beat the game so much faster if we demolish the community center and build a Joja warehouse. It's the only optimal choice. Seriously, why won't anyone dance with me at the Flower Festival? It must be because I don't have enough money yet. I need more money. Is that a goblin? The wiki says he'll only move if you give him... Dear Yoba, it's real. Dwarves here. Shadow people fought in the elemental wars. Millions dead. The ancestral home lost. Elves, beautiful and majestic, gone. No trace, no bodies, no skeletons ever found. Man is still out there. No. Interplanar sky people crashed onto Earth. At least one known fairy. Mermaids. Mermaids in the ocean. Hair Lewis's short. Lewis's short. Yes, of course. They're the key. They've always been the key to everything. Stardew doesn't really point out most of this background dressing. It's there, but you kind of have to go out of your way to see how far down the rabbit hole goes. What Stardew does direct your attention to, however, is its characters. While the interactions are brief, every character has a distinct personality, outlook, and secrets. Much like real life, you gain friendship with these people by gifting them the exact same item twice every week until they fall in love with you. Take Leah, for example. To accomplish this goal, you learn that she enjoys salads, so you give her a salad twice a week until she starts to like you. Showing up unannounced outside of people's houses with their favorite foods and standing eerily outside of their doors, that's the quickest way to their heart. Jokes aside though, like, in all seriousness, this is the aspect of the game that honestly kind of meant a lot to me on my first playthrough. I am not going to say it's Shakespeare or anything, but that doesn't matter. There are no skill trees involving talking to people. The dialogue options are all pretty one-sided, with a wrong option being pretty obvious. But when I was going through this game and devoting time to each of the different activities, I would occasionally be rewarded with one of these little heart events. This applies to every character, big and small. This applies to every character, big and small. Linus, for example, appears to be homeless, and most of the town seems to assume so because she occasionally rummages through garbage, which is weird. As a wealthy Stardew citizen, I would never. As a result, most people in the town pity him and occasionally try to help him by offering food. Sometimes he will accept, but other times he will say he doesn't need it, and he can forage it himself. There's a dignity to him. He chooses to live by himself in the wilderness, and he doesn't want to be pitied for that choice. He's wise in his own way, finding beauty in nature, a solitary life, and digging through the trash, or foraging, as we call it. Everyone has some amount of depth to them. Even Haley, who initially comes off as the town asshole, and we all make jokes about it, she learns to open up to you, and the more she gets to know you, can actually be very sweet with her heart events. Still an asshole, mind you, but one that changes her outlook towards you once you give her enough gifts. I can fix her. Krobus, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, is a lovable shadow person who doesn't hold it against you that you've killed hundreds upon hundreds of his brother. You monster. He can actually eventually move in with you if you haven't married anyone, and you can give him platonic hugs and take him to the movie theater in a human costume. By the way, that's the greatest thing in this game. Demetrius is an overprotective father as well as a scientist who will pull you aside and subtly threaten you if you try to date his daughter. Pierre, the general store owner, is a very greedy man who is likely raising a daughter that isn't his own. And poorly at that. Oh yeah, it's pretty much accepted as truth that Caroline slept with the wizard back in the day, and that's how we got Abigail. Leah is fleeing an abusive relationship from the city. Kent is a war veteran who was tortured in a Gotero labor camp. And Shane is a depressed alcoholic who is stuck in a corporate job he despises, lost in an endless pit of self-hatred and mental torture. He doesn't think there's any escape. No way out, no matter how hard he tries. Dear God, this game tackles some pretty depressing subject material. Some of the characters deal with incredibly mature topics, and this gives this game an insanely dark undertone beneath it all. This game is rated E for everyone 10 and up, which, I don't know, man. And I kind of have a pet peeve for when people are like, oh, Clone Wars is a dark and gritty drama. It's not like it isn't also kids media. It has more to say than nothing. I will say, I think this game tackles this subject matter in a very delicate and respectful way, while also showing each of these characters' arcs and involves them improving their lives in some way. Even if the problem isn't entirely solved, like with Penny and her alcoholic mother who also drives the town bus, she will find solace in tutoring the two town kids. Leah eventually punches her lunatic ex. Shane quits drinking, and Kent? What you yapping about? And Kent? Well, Kent just kind of learns to live with his PTSD. Not everything is wrapped up with a bow, but happiness is possible. This game has a way of balancing the euphoric and the melancholic, even down to its music, usually beginning each day with an energetic burst of vibrant music, and by the end of the day, the music usually calms to a slow, gentle, almost depressing rhythm, before fading into silence as you make your way back home. If I mentioned that this whole game is made by one person, Concerned Ape made the music, the graphics, the programming, the dialogue, everything. The only thing that he didn't do was the localization for the consoles, and that was the only thing that could be described as a stain on what is otherwise an incredibly disaster-free game. Imagine how motivated someone has to be able to do all of that work. All of the labor and struggles of releasing a working video game is something even multi-million-dollar companies fail at consistently. I wish I had half this man's energy. I find it difficult to make a video, let alone a whole video game by myself. This game is exactly what I needed when I first got into playing it. I needed something bright and fun that also didn't completely ignore tackling dark subject matter. Stardew Valley is a game that rides that line beautifully, while also creating those gameplay loops that dump dopamine directly into my addict brain, while keeping me hooked with its variety of gameplay, all for only $15 at the most. In the current market, where we receive unfinished game after unfinished game, it is truly up to us to support developers who earn it by raising the bar of what we should expect from other game devs. If this one beautiful man can release a game with this much depth in every facet of its being, then how come companies like Bethesda, sorry Bethesda, you just make it too easy, Activision and Warner Bros. Get away with releasing games of drastically lower quality? Don't get me wrong, I'm also guilty of this. I pre-ordered Cyberpunk back then, and as much as I love the game now, the empty gut feeling I get when I think about what could have been is overwhelming. I am so tired of playing half-baked games with little to no content, broken gameplay, graphics, and shitty anti-consumer bullshit. And no matter how hard we scream we do not want this, it keeps showing up no matter what. I want my games to be fully baked. Let them cool down on the countertop, and then coated in a delicious mayonnaise glaze, to be enjoyed by the whole family. Eat up, everyone. I think I'm starting to understand why no one wants to dance with me at the flower dance. Why is it that so many games today are released like this? In a state where we are forced to make the most of a broken product. This was an anti-capitalist manifesto the whole time. Get socialized, fucker! So it's no secret that I'm not a big fan of what motivates every aspect of our society. Video games release in shitty condition because games are expensive as hell to produce, and it is so much easier to put everything into advertising, cash out on pre-orders, and then drain whoever sticks around with microtransactions. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Every day we move the line bit by bit so that we don't notice how unbelievably greedy they have gotten. They don't need 100 people to buy one game when one person will dump thousands into it. This mandate that controls every aspect of our lives, that we must accumulate as much money as possible for our own stockpile so that we may cling to it as tightly as we can for our own healthcare, transportation, food, living space, and so much more is nothing short of soul-crushing.
Today's subject, slavery.
We are forced to grind out as much money as possible from our jobs. We work, devoting up to half of our waking lives to jobs. We come home exhausted and have just enough energy to make it to the beginning of the next day so that we may start this process yet again.
Yes!
There does come a time in most of our lives where we feel crushed by the burdens of modern life, and our bright spirits fade before a growing emptiness. We try to optimize every aspect of our lives to maximize the amount of money we save, and the anxiety of maintaining this is unsustainable. This is what made Stardew so powerful for me when I began playing it at the exact moment I did. It mirrored my experience so closely, and I'm sure it did for a few other people besides me. It is absolutely insane to me that anyone would honestly, actually believe in picking the Joja Corporation ending over the actual story where you fix the community center.
Now, I've come to realize something in Stardew Valley after all of these years. I don't think Joja is actually as bad as we think. Whoa, I know. But hear me out. Why do we hate them so much? What makes them bad, and why do we not focus on the positives?
Yes, Pierre is a dumb shit boomer who is unbelievably prideful and greedy, but come on. The game makes it so clear that Joja is not good for anyone. You literally went to Pelican Town to escape from this company, and here some people are licking their boots. Pathetic. The game reinforces this in almost every way. When you enter a Joja Mart, it is one of the only places of the game where the music completely cuts out to be replaced by the cold hum of the inside of the supermarket. It's eerie. No one working in the store is willing to talk to you while they work. As someone who comes from sales is incredibly relatable and understandable. All of the items are more expensive unless you purchase a Joja membership from Morris. Morris coincidentally earns the Most Punchable Face award from me. Congratulations, Morris. Yes, even more so than Pierre. Nah, I don't really mean that. See, Morris is also a victim of the Joja Corporation. He works long hours, devotes himself entirely to his job, and even invests his own money into the store. And guess what? He receives nothing in return. And everyone who visits the store doesn't care either. Morris is a very sad character, and as much as we all love to clown on him, I think a lot of us has been Morris at one point or another, thinking that we would be rewarded if we only gave everything to our job. If we kept our head down, if we showed up on time, if we kept making them money. Should you purchase that membership, you will be signing your soul to the devil. The community center will be demolished and turned into a warehouse. The main game then becomes you having to complete bundles by spending large sums of money. Now you can finish the game much quicker than if you picked the community center, and you are incentivized to play as optimally as possible. Generate as much money as you can by any means. Clear out the forest, burn the trees, fill the former forest with crystallariums. Generate as much money as you can by any means. Who does that? I think we all know that this isn't really the good ending. Sure, it's fun sometimes to try out different endings and clown on Mr. Pierre, but I mean, the whole game warns about actually doing this. In the real world, this happens on a large scale every day. How many people are choosing the Nike ending for their lives? The Amazon ending? The Activision ending? The Coca-Cola ending? I'm pretty sure the Tyson ending is just you standing upon a mound of 10,000 malnourished, diseased, dead chickens that you personally slap to death with a shovel. Should you pick the community center instead, you will be tasked with helping the adorable Junimos with filling out a checklist of items throughout the game. You will be asked to engage with every gameplay loop in order to finish, and it can take a surprising amount of time, at least if you're as slow as me. This gives you a lot of time to explore the game at your own pace as you go along. You might just fall in love with the beauty of this game. The characters and the music and the delightful graphics might manage to reach through the screen and make you feel something in that cold, dead heart of yours. Once you finish all of the bundles, the community center will open again. Pelican Town will spiritually return to its glory days again. The Joja Mart will be forced to close, and though characters like Shane and Morris will be forced to find new jobs, I think they'll learn to adapt to the world outside of Joja. Stardew represents the real fantasy I think most people can relate to. Not wanting to be a powerful, doom-slaying badass or secret government agent, the fantasy at the core of Stardew Valley is escaping from that low-paying job that is destroying a small part of your soul with each day. It represents escaping to a simple lifestyle far more in harmony with the earth. It represents being involved in the community. It represents defeating the megacorporation that threatens to take away the community. It represents becoming a mayonnaise farmer, consuming that delicious, creamy white liquid free from corporate tyranny.
If you want my gun, come spank me for it.
Free from the existential dread of being chewed up by an unfeeling machine that spits you out as something you don't even recognize in the mirror anymore. And it is a powerful fantasy. It is escapism. Even if I suffer from video game addiction. I think it's okay to enjoy a big old bowl of comfort food every now and then. If you want to kill demons in Doom, power to you, buddy. If you want to build a cute little farm in Stardew Valley, then go for it. If you want to kill women in Skyrim and pretend that they're feminists, I don't know, man. So most of all, I hope that some of you people support indie devs who really deserve it. Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight, Furry Arena 18 and up. Ooh! It's on sale. I think if we really want to see more games of this quality in the future, we have to support the ones that make us happy. So please, if Stardew looks at all interesting to you, go ahead and give it a try. You can play it in multiplayer too, so go start a commune, you hippies. I guarantee you that this game will provide hours upon hours of relaxing fun, addicting gameplay, and emotional sucker punches that will keep you entertained. I joke around a lot, but I really meant it when I said a few years back I was very unhappy with how things were going in my life. So as impossible as it felt, I managed to get out. I'm not working a dream job or anything, but I think a lesson was learned. Change is always possible. You don't have to be stuck anywhere. No matter how hard it feels, you can leave your job for something better. You can. No company can earn your loyalty when the wealth is so unevenly stacked against you. So if you feel like you would be happier someplace else, if you feel like you need to get out, if you need a change, then remember that you have the power to manifest that change. So why don't you escape with me to Stardew Valley? And there, you can become mayo farmers. I think the rum was better. So there it is, my friends. My second ever video essay. Took me long enough. I'm sitting here at 1:58 a.m. after finally getting enough motivation to make one of these again, mostly due to contracting COVID, but more so due to just getting a spurt of energy for it. If you have any opinions or stories of your own to share in the comments, I look forward to reading them. A lot of work went into making this, and it became sort of a passion project over the last few years. I'm going to try to upload something again soon. Who knows, maybe I'll settle into something a little bit more consistent. But until then, I bid you farewell. Here's to the next time we... Oh no! No! Can you open the window a little bit for me, my friend? Look, man, he's gonna clean it up!
Well, it's okay.
No, I think we're done. I think we are done.
You think you got what you needed?
Yeah. One more take.
Okay, now
You started doing that out of nowhere! There was no